Oh, inflation! Wow, this is really a stark departure from the previous topic of Kyle Rittenhouse and all that type of stuff. But it is probably, you know what, more important to a lot of other people. It's probably not as exciting as the other topic is Kyle Rittenhouse. But again, with all of those self-defense claims that are out there, that'll eventually, you know what, have overarching reactions. But this one's affecting people right fucking now. And because we got 3 videos to talk about during the day, we got something very important to hit on as well, and we need to differentiate the subject matter now, don't we? Consumer price inflation accelerates to fastest rate in 31 years. Oh, that was an initial good year now, wasn't it? Year I was born. Inflation accelerated sharply, as well as forecasts in October, with the United States consumer prices rising at their fastest over-the-year pace in more than 3 decades, as persistent supply chain bottlenecks continue to push prices skyward. No! Oh my god, I didn't think that was any sort of a problem. Now, would it be? The Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, reported on November 10th that the headline Consumer Price Index and measure of inflation from the perspective of the end consumer of goods and services surged by 6.2% over the year and 0.9% over the month in October. That last number seems to be pretty consistent from the previous month, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't quite remember. That puts the pace of over-the-year consumer price inflation at the highest level since December of 1990, when it rose by 6.3%. That's thanks to old Poppy Bush. Read my lips, no new taxes, just a whole lot of inflation. Oh yeah, and new taxes. At 0.9%, the over-the-month pace of inflation is the highest since June. Oh, okay, so it was slightly lower for September, I think, whatever. Which at the time was the fastest rate since 2008. Oh yes, when good old Uncle Joe was back in the number 2 office. No, he wasn't sitting next to the Pope. Economists polled by Bloomberg predicted the November 10 CPI print would come in at 5.9% over the year and 0.6% over the month. Congratulations, Joe. You exceeded expectations, you fucking fossil. No matter how squishy the definition of transitory might be, it is undeniable that inflation is a problem. Oh my god, Bankrate chief financial analyst Greg McBride told Epoch Times in a statement. While Federal Reserve policymakers have maintained that the current bout of inflation is transitory, not so much anymore. Fed Vice Chairman Richard Clarida acknowledged on November 8th that inflation this year has been much more than a moderate overshoot of our 2% longer-run inflation objective. That's just a nice way of saying it's not really that transitory, and it's going to be here for a little while longer. While adding that inflation risks are weighted to the upside. Inflation is broadening out, McBride said, in addition to food, energy, and shelter continuing to post outside monthly increases. New and used car prices are once again shifting into overdrive. Get it? It's like a car thing. Used car prices jumped 2.5% over the month and 26.4% over the year in October. Jesus. New car prices rose 1.4% of the month and 9.8% for the 12 months through October. Transportation service prices, which fell by 0.5% last month, jumped by 0.4% over the month in October and 4.5% over the year. Okay, the biggest contributor to monthly and annual basis was fuel oil, which spiked 12.3% over the month and 59.1% over the year in October. So what does this all mean? You know that Thanksgiving dinner that you're probably looking forward to in a couple of weeks' time? Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a lot more expensive. And Biden's finally admitted it. Okay, probably because he didn't want to, but he couldn't stop his mouth from running about it. It really does. It's really sad to see that old man just stammering and rambling up there at the podium. President Joe Biden said he directed the National Economic Council to focus on reducing energy costs for the United States consumers, following a Department of Labor report suggesting that inflation hit a 3-decade high in October. 31 years, in fact, if we're going to be specific. Today's report shows an increase over last month. Inflation hurts Americans' pocketbooks, and reversing this trend is a top priority for me. Sure it is, Biden said in a statement. So once again, nothing he actually said, something somebody else provided for him. The largest share of the increase in prices, as a report, is due to rising energy costs. Cool, which you ended up spiking because, remember, repeat after me, you killed the Keystone XL pipeline, right? For no good fucking reason, because you didn't have a plan to immediately transition out of it. Nah, fuck it, just kill it. Kill it, President said. He directed his top economic aides to attempt to further reduce these costs. Regarding energy prices, he also asked the Federal Trade Commission to deal with market manipulation or price gouging in this sector. No, you created the inflation. Therefore, other industries have to compensate for the increased price in goods that they need in order to produce their products, and therefore, like always, they're always passing on the need to turn a profit on to the end user. So, once again, he's just trying to create an us versus them mentality. Oh, we're for you. You guys, these big businesses need to stop gouging the middleman. And, oh, if they stop doing that, you guys, you'd have more money in your pocketbooks. But it's those evil capitalists that are out there. Of course, Joe won't say capitalist because it's too many syllables, and he doesn't need them dentures just popping out. Federal Reserve and White House have maintained that inflation will abate and supply chain bottlenecks are fixed. They aren't. For example, the Marine Exchange, which monitors container ships from Asia, reported on November 9th that 111 of such ships are now sitting outside the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach. See, they're getting cleaned up. Risks are clearly shifting towards U.S. inflation remaining elevated longer than previously thought, but that doesn't mean that it's permanent, said Ryan Sweet, a senior economist at Moody's Analytics in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Oh no, but I thought Moody's was on Biden's side. The Fed could face a situation where higher consumer prices begin to weigh on consumer spending, reducing GDP growth. Fuck. It's a good thing that we're going to be measuring the economy by unconventional metrics. Later in the statement, Biden urged Congress to approve his Build Back Better agenda, coming after the House approved the Senate-passed $1.2 trillion infrastructure package last week. A larger $1.7 trillion total spending package is being debated in Congress. It's fucking retarded. However, a key Senator Joe Manchin, signaled on Twitter that he may be loath to pass the larger bill anytime soon. No shit. By all accounts, the threat posed by record inflation to the American people is not transitory and instead getting worse, Manchin wrote. From the grocery store to the gas pumps, again, oh, I'm an everyman. Yeah, we get it, but he is making a decent point. I shan't go too hard on him. Americans know the inflation tax is real, and DC can no longer ignore the economic pain Americans feel every day. If these were his actual thoughts, and I have no reason to believe that they aren't, because he's at least establishing a track record of giving a fuck about the regular individual, and he's not using some kind of backwards logic in order to get there. If he was in charge of the Democratic Party right now, I think things would probably be a little bit better, because they sure as fuck couldn't be a hell of a lot worse. The Congressional Budget Office on November 9th released a statement saying lawmakers will have to wait longer for a full score on the social spending bill. Yeah, that $1.75 trillion is starting to look a hell of a lot more like $2.75 trillion when it's all said and done. That's either that or the $1.25 trillion. It doesn't matter. It's a lot of fucking money, and it's just all being worthless. But yeah, just to recap, the Consumer Price Index jumped 0.9% last month after climbing 0.4% in September. Oh, okay, cool. So it was significantly lower. I'm sure that if the spin is out on this one, they're just going to say, oh, look at our September numbers, so this is just an aberration. And if you average them out, we're doing great. Sure you are. The largest gain in 4 months hoisted the annual increase in the CPI to 6.2%. That was the biggest year-on-year rise since November 1990 and followed a 5.4% advance in September. Yeah, food prices advanced 0.9%, mostly driven by meat, eggs, fish, vegetables, cereals, and bakery products. So, guess what? The federal government is just trying to push a little bit harder. You know what's not getting more expensive? Probably bugs and pods. So, you know what? Hey, don't be afraid. You can just go ahead and ingest where necessary, I suppose. But with that said, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.